most teams can say, but SSG truly believe that. And so if they're picking a map like Border, I think that screams that, hey, we want to get messy with you, we want to crank, we want to get aggressive, and that's what we're going to see.
Well, the beauty of that map is that it gets through, and it's usually banned 74% of the time against SSG, which is just insane. Yes. And that's at least from Reload up till now, right? So, I mean, when you look at it like that, things could get pretty dastardly pretty quickly. But, I mean, when you look at the full map pool overall between these two teams, I mean, guys, this is action-packed.
Absolutely. I think action-packed is a nice way of putting it. It is very energy-packed as well. A lot of stomping coming through from the side of SSG. Maybe something they picked up from the Brazilians after the huddle that we've seen earlier today. But the energy is there, and that's what matters, because this is it. This is your one chance to continue your path. This is your lifeline. This is your do-or-die moment. You fail here, you're going back on that plane. And you don't want to be the NA stereotype.
No.
You don't want to be the NA stereotype.
No.
What does NA stand for, guys?
Near airport. Why'd you make me say that?
That's rude. Just rude.
Was I supposed to say? It just happens to be that the two American casters are on the deck. Well, Canadian. Oh my! I knew that was coming. It just so happens that the two North American casters are on the desk when this game is happening. But you know, again, who's most likely to bomb out on the first day? That was a very hard-hitting question that I asked earlier today to Nick and Dev, and it was a question that I asked yesterday to some of the players during Media Day. And now I throw it right back at the two of you. Who's most likely to bomb out?
You want to take it first?
If anybody's going to crash out, I think it's going to be SSG, just given what we saw at the start. Maybe crash out mentally is not the right word, but I mean, they got smashed in their opening game. Falcons are a very tough opponent. That could happen again. I agree with what Sam was saying earlier, though. Like, if they can find a footing in this game, they're going to be a really tough team to beat.
They just don't die, Jenny. And that's the thing about Spacestation. When their life is on the line, this is one of those teams. They are just otherworldly, truly. So I'm very excited for this series, especially with the fact that we have Falcons with their backs against the wall. Spacestation Gaming could prove, you know, everybody at home as to, you know, that lower bracket. It was just not a fluke. This is truly what we're about. We have trained for years to have this mental for situations like this. And now, I mean, Jesse, I mean, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but this might be one of the biggest tests of mental in a long time for this roster.
No, it certainly will be, and I think we've already kind of gotten a little bit of a taste of how these teams handle the mental. You heard how loud SSG were before this game started. That's the style that they play, right? That's how they want to start the games and get into it. On the side of Falcons, you don't get that, right? They're not a team who want to be screaming and yelling. They're reading from their papers. They're reading the notes right before the game starts. I mean,
you love your notes.
Oh, I'm not dissing it, right? I'm reading from my notes just like they are, but it's two completely different mindsets on how you're going to approach an important game like this. Do you go full study? Do you make sure that everything is down to a T and you know exactly what you're going to execute on? Or do you just make sure that bond is strong, make sure the energy is up? Today we'll find out.
Pressure breaks pipes, but also makes diamonds. And one of these teams is going to be able to prove whether or not they are able to live up to the expectations that they've had set onto their shoulders as this event started on day one already. Coming into this is the title defenders for Falcons. A tough situation to be in. SSG, though, that #1 NA seed, they have to prove here, as you said it, Jesse, that this is not a fluke. You got 1 best-of-3 to prove it, 3 maps if you're lucky, 2 if you're on the unlucky side. But everything rides on this specific moment. Like the NAL, you've done that, you got the points, you got the qualification. Now you got to prove that you deserve to be here.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of question marks when they added Newers too.
Yeah.
A lot of people on social media did not like that pickup, SSG pickup Newers, because they were already a top performing team. They dropped Forrest, who fit really, really well on this squad. A lot of people did not believe that Newers was going to fit onto this team. He so far has. I mean, he's looked really strong on Space Station. So to win here against Falcons, I think it would put out a big statement against those that were already doubting them. Absolutely.
And I think that goes just to show you how capable the staff is for SSG, let alone that fact. But that man right there, Fultz, incredible. It is so wild to me that he's been a part of Siege for so unbelievably long and still just playing at such a high level, let alone that fact with the same organization as well, Jesse.
Yeah, don't forget there's 2 world championships playing in this, or 2 world champions playing in this matchup. Both are on Spacestation.
Bolts and Benjamaster.
Yes, sir.
Benjamaster, you know, for some of our younger audience, Benja was the MVP of SI23.
Yeah.
And it was by far and away one of the biggest spectacles I've seen in Siege history. Just on an absolute tear the entire tournament, and let alone that fact, but Grand Finals main stage, just putting everybody to work, man. I mean, absolutely incredible. Maybe Spacestation can channel a little bit of these World Championship players here. I mean, I'll tell you guys, I'm elated about this game. I'm super excited.
We're ready to head into our last best of 3 for today. The do or die for Falcons going up against Spacestation Gaming as they fight for a chance to survive in this lower bracket.
All right.
Jinx.
You owe me a Coke, buddy.
All right, all right. We get free soda at this event, so
yeah, dude,
I'll
perks.
pay up. I'll pay up.
Perks, yeah. I'm being really extra nice, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. You actually owe me $100.
Hold on.
Oh, man. Well, let's get into this ban phase. And Mr. Chick, I believe you have some words for us.
Yeah, we're going into Nighthaven Labs. The name of the game is Electricity. Kite already removed. Bandit of high chance to be removed as well, but it'll be Mira instead. Not actually that crazy to see Mira being taken off the board on a map like Nighthaven Labs, and usually you see the response from the defenders be to focus those hard breachers. We see again one of those slots being removed by hard breacher. That'll be Ace taken out first by SSG, and they go back for a Deimos, right? That op being removed next is going to be that really impactful operator that Shaiko loves to play. One of his signature operators that we see him on all the time. So to take that away from Shaiko, I think is a bit of a message saying, listen, we know you're great at this operator. We're going to respect you on the Deimos, and we're going to take it away.
That's the right man to respect when it comes to that operator. He is by far and away the best Deimos in the entire world. He has been so talented on this op for so long, it's like they made it specifically for him.
Yeah.
I mean, especially when you think about the playstyle, you're like, oh, that's Shaiko through and through. That's exactly what he'd want to do.
Yeah.
So we'll see how Falcons can deliver in other ways now that that is not available to them. Do remember, we still have that ban after round 3, so they'll still be able to affect things down the line here. SSG just rummaging around on the mid floor, still setting things up before things get popped off. But Jesse, we're going downstairs. Tank, always a fun sight, especially when it comes to delaying and denying time.
Yeah, odd to see basement first on Nighthaven. Usually you start top floors. It's thought to be the best bomb site on the map, but nothing wrong with going basement first, and then we'll see that top floor either second or third. I'm quite confident of it. Just because SSG aren't defending the top floor doesn't mean they can't have players up there. Currently, it's Ashen all by himself, just playing inside of servers. He's got those impacts, so if he wants to do something cheeky, maybe jump out the IT wall or go for a bit of an aggressive play. I mean, he is now standing inside of IT, so we'll see if he wants to do anything too crazy. He will be the first target to be removed, and part of banning out that Deimos is to allow someone like Ashen to play these aggressive positions with a lot less fear.
Yep. It's all about forcing the respect here from Falcons. SSGs knows what it is. It's been the same story for Falcons time and time again. They are practically inevitable when it comes to a lot of different series. And SSG, they're going to try and force them to slow down, force them to respect what they are capable of here on Nighthaven Labs.
Interesting you see them hard pinging Newers, right? They're trying to scare him. They're trying to force him to run away because they don't really want to engage with him directly. They could have a cutoff being held, but looks like he was able to retreat kind of back to his teammate Fault on the ending stairs, make it out alive. Ashen as well successfully retreats back to Benja. So those aggressive players that we saw in SSG don't end up having too much of an impact. They maybe slow things down for Falcons a little bit, but I think Falcons are still feeling okay about where the clock is at. They've got Lickyfac, who's still got all of his hard breach to start dealing with these hatches. They've got Brede, who can then make a move out on the outside walls if he wants to, too, with the Maverick. 5 players in sight is not going to be fun to deal with, but they've got a couple of smokes, they've got a couple of ways to plant, and they've got good soft destruction, so they've got options on the side of Team Falcons.
Yes, they do. I will say this for Spacestation, though. I'm really liking the hold that they went for here on Nighthaven. Holding things down over towards cargo stairs, have that hatch open, reinforce the walls in towards control. It's all very beautiful, especially because there's no verticality coming in on that stairwell. It's all hard top up above you, so you don't have to worry about things too much, but you still got to worry about things like that. Shaiko, big shocker here, first one to strike.
Yeah, takes down Ashen, but a really abysmal first game for SSG. Hoping to not see that get repeated in this next one versus Falcons. They need him to perform. They want a chance of winning this. Newers gets a trade back. He finds Salt Top, so it ends up being a 1-for-1 as they do probably get that vert pick onto the Ram. It's an important operator, but much of the Ram util has already been cleared out.
Yeah, this verticality set in stone now, which means SSG knows how they're going to have to play around it. Looking for the feet of Newers is that verticality, but EFAC will find the head instead as Newers puts his face where it doesn't belong. He'll be decapitated and sent to his grave. Falcons with 2 nice picks. Granted, they have lost Solotov. Very minimal time remaining now as well as Shaiko's trying to find yet another pick. Agumine in the foot of the blitz. Practically useless right now, especially up against the Clash. So little time, uses panics. Almost ends up icing his teammate, but Benja with the flank. Falcons, they have to force the plant. It's all down to Benja. He'll take out Shaiko. They don't know where the plant is. It's on the other side of the damn site. No vision at all. Space Station, they had a snowball's chance in hell, but it's melted down to nothing. This post plan is going to be so difficult. Over by the box, he has to worry about this player outside. Benja, I don't think he'll stick it. He will stick it for quite some time, but won't be able to get too much from it. Might actually have the positioning now. There's no stuns on EFAC. He can't find this. He has to get down the hatch, but Benja doesn't stick it. Oh my days! What is this first round? Benja, you just have to stick it. Don't do anything else! Oh, we're in for a series, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my!
What a ridiculous first round, Sam. Holy, Benja almost threw that a couple of times, not being able to stick that defuse kit. He went so many times, jumped off of that. Was the right call at first, right? Clearing out Bride from the outside of the building, right? Managing to find that player on the main breach. Bride was working on that main wall the entire round. He didn't enter the building until there was like 10 seconds left in that round and finally started planting inside of Assembly. I was very concerned Falcons weren't going to get the defuse kit down because they had to open such a wide hole with just the Maverick, which is not a fast job to be accomplishing. But Falcons, they just had enough time to get the plant down. Unfortunately, the post plant wasn't good enough. Benja 3-0 starting things off. He says, I might not be the flashiest European in this server, but I am the best.
So impressive there. What a shot coming out. Game-changing moment for Space Station, and he comes in round 1. That's the kind of precedent that you want to set, let alone that fact, but just the thought processing there with the case, Jesse. The fact that he sticks it for a little while longer to bait that player over towards the rotate, it was just all so stellar. And SSG gifted a very special round there. We'll see if they can follow through on round 2.
Yeah, Benj is an extremely special player. You mentioned it. SI MVP back in 2023, so that kind of speaks for itself, doesn't it, and what type of player he is.
Yeah, he's like 22, by the way.
Yeah,
21, 22.
He's ridiculously young. 21, actually turning 22 later this month, I believe. So, very good guess, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, obviously a player that's been on SSG for a while now, was initially on that G2 team back when they became world champions and then moved over to the Space Station squad, jumped the pod after a very controversial move from G2 when they dropped them from the roster. Great start to see her at EWC. Good usage of the utility now as Ashen is getting forced off of that bandit trick by the Zofia.
Yeah, Alamau just had to go get another young gun to exploit. That's what he had to do.
He had to.
Robbed this one from North America as well, dude. Practically the cradle as well. I mean, freshly 18. He's like, come out of Texas. Come play over here in Europe. But, I mean, what a great group of guys to be a part of for that roster. But more on what the heck's happening here. They're going to open things up for the IT wall, and EFAC will just completely decimate Benja. They don't have to worry about that factor for the rest of this one.
Well, glad he wasn't being hyped up for the last 2 minutes. Great to see that.
That would never
Benja?
happen.
Weird positioning, but it is what it is, right? He's going to rely on his teammates to clutch this one out. 4v5 is not too bad for holding a top floor defense on Nighthaven Labs. This entry from Solotov is going to be really important, but the barbed wire gives away his position, so they should know approximately where he's at. Nobody's playing the rafters, so there won't be an initial engagement, but once he makes his way up to the top of this position, right, he's not going to have any breach himself. He'll need to pull over at one of his teammates if they want to get in through this wall. Falcons, just like last round, are going to have a pretty late push here, Sam. They've got the IT wall open, but they need a little bit more than that before they can go for their execute.
I think that this Deimos is affecting things a little bit more than we're initially giving it credit for, because a lot of times we'll see Falcons build things up in moments like this because they have that tracker. They're able to put a death mark on somebody and start communicating back and forth to try and work a pick or at least try to take some space. But now things starting to work out for Falcons. They'll find another pick onto Newers, EMP up against the Clash and feeling comfortable to put the shield down now. But I mean, this rests on a knife's edge. I know it's a 5 versus 3, but SSG, they're battling back at the gates, but Falcons, they slip open the back door as this entire fortress comes crumbling down.
All right, when things get a little scary, you go back to relying on the favorites. It's LickyFact to show up, it's Saltov to show up, and Shaiko at the end. Who else to be able to close out that round coming through from Team Falcons? A nice, consistent round where throughout all of the round, they were getting picks. The first early one onto Benja, and they got a second one a little bit later in the round, then another, then another. It wasn't one big push at the end. Instead, it was just going to be one of those rounds where they bleed players over and over and over again, Sam.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Spacestation never really having a dog in that fight. Very unfortunate for them, and man, I'll tell you this. We haven't seen a lot of typing from Falcons, and you really never do. It's almost like somebody's under their skin or something. Something must have happened to Falcons, Jesse. I don't know. What could it possibly be?
We'll see. If anybody's going to type back, it's SSG. So we're in for a treat this game. We'll leave it at that. 1-1 to start things off, and we end up on Kitchen Cafeteria, Sam.
Man.
This is not a popular bomb site for teams to head to. SSG will try it out. I remember they actually had one of the OG Kitchen Cafeteria holds back at Invite, where they played a really cool mirror strat top floor. They haven't run that as much so far, but they've played this bomb site 3 times this season, and they've got a 2-1 record on it.
Fair enough.
They have found success in here in the past, and maybe that's something they're trying to lean into a little bit more now.
You can definitely see that. Newers, beautiful find. He levels up. And that's the one thing about this player. This is what SSG wanted. They wanted somebody that provides that special spice, something a little bit different. And Newers is one of those players. He always has been. That's his play style. Newers does not shy away from a single person in the world. He doesn't care if your name's Shaiko. He doesn't care at all. And he'll deliver here as he'll take down Solotov and get things going for Spacestation in round 3.
It's nice to have somebody on SSG like Newers who can step up when maybe Ashen's not having the greatest of tournaments, right?
Got a great batting average, let me tell you.
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
Sam. I mean, he's been fantastic throughout his career on Oxygen, and of course coming to SSG now here as well. Once again, I am still focused on Ash in this game. He had an abysmal, I think it was 3-7 stat line in their previous loss where they got really walked by W7M, and now he's 0-2 to start things off. We're early, I'm not going to sweat about it just yet, but it's a storyline to keep an eye on through the rest of this round, through the rest of the match.
I'll tell you this, Spacestation is doing a fantastic job of holding onto this top floor. This is exactly what you need for this Kitchen bomb site. The reason that when this map came out, we all kind of turned up our nose to Kitchen. It was like, what is this meeting room up here? You rip up the floorboards, you can't play the Kitchen site at all. Somebody just hops in the window and plants, right? Well, we saw that quite a few times, but as, you know, things do happen with time, people have started to develop more and more strategies, and these seem to be a little bit more potent than, oh, I don't know, bar on Clubhouse.
Well, without that ram from Saltov too, the floorboards are going to be looking a lot more secure this time around. They've started to make waves into the top floor, but they still haven't been able to find any of these players. And SSG, they're still lurking top floor.
Almost a find there from EFAG. Just waltzing his way through, and these players that are actually physically on site might start calling him out from these footsteps that they're hearing. And yeah, the gunfight's starting to go back and forth, so J9O will at least be able to calm that for the rest of the squad. And Falcons, they're starting to bleed time here. This is going to start to get really, really risky the farther we go into this, as they haven't even been able to find a pick. And Spacestation, I mean, this thing is set up. The hatches are batted down, and I mean, this is just terrible for Falcons, honestly, to try and work through.
33 seconds, Sam, and we're shooting at bulletproofs. This is not the pace that they expected to be at. The wall's still fully reinforced, and they don't have any hard breach other than the Maverick, so good luck with that.
Stuns in. Something's got to give, Jesse. Where are we going to swing this from? Because the patience right now, I mean, it's gorgeous. Benja's going to put another one up, might throw another one. They'll shoot those down, and I mean, the time sink right now.
There's
it
10
is just
seconds.
so good from Spacestation. Falcons, they got to go. Benja will fall. Shaiko gets one. There's 3 seconds remaining, and no case, as Falcons will go down to, and I'm not joking, one of the worst bomb sites that we have available, let alone this map, but kind of overall.
It's so odd to see the clock be a problem on Kitchen Cafeteria. I mean, there's literally a window outside straight into the bomb site. Right above the bomb site, there's 2 windows into the meeting room that you could easily jump in. They were in lobby so late, and when
Yeah.
Bride died, he was still mapping the wall, Sam.
Yep.
He never got in the bomb site.
Well, that's what happens when you think, okay, let's take the entire top floor practically and clear the entire thing out, let alone that fact, but they walked a complete rotation around, I believe, Ashen over in the top floor and didn't even get a pick from that situation. They literally were like ships in the night. They never even noticed each other. And that was the biggest thing there. Falcons, although they went for that offense, they genuinely got nothing out of it.
SSG banned the Thermite afterwards, so they're still trying to apply pressure to that hard breach
That's
situation.
rough, man.
Bride is going to keep on playing that Maverick unless he wants to repick off of it. It'll be a clash ban from Falcons. Fair enough, can be a really annoying operator to deal with, and I think SSG are a great clash team as well, so going to remove that from their arsenal, but Spacestation looking comfy at this point. They're going to go down to the bottom floor. They were able to win this one, but it was really tight, right? It had to be a 1v2 to come out from Benjamaster. I think if you look back at this game, I mean, maybe if that first round goes another way, maybe if Bride can get that pick on a Benja, this ends up looking like a 2-1 for Falcons instead of a 2-1 for SSG. Or maybe it's thinking a different tune, but that previous round I just thought was so dominant for Spacestation. Falcons need to make sure that that doesn't affect their head, that it doesn't affect their mental. They can come back into this round and just say, let's make it clean, let's clear up these top floors maybe a little bit faster, and let's make sure we don't choke the 2v1.
Yeah, well, the writing's on the wall for this op lineup that we have from Falcons. We both know basically exactly what's going to happen. You've got the Ram, Nomad, Blackbeard. It's going to be a lot of pressure coming in towards this mid floor as they try to clear out top and bottom here. And then they're going to want to work that Ram in and work all of this verticality. Try and pull SSG away from these walls downstairs so that they can get those open and start looking for that plant.
An early pick on Ashen would be massive. Again, he's 0-2 to start things off. He, last time on this bomb site, was roaming quite aggressively, but then made it out safely back to the vending stairs. Everybody at SSG happy to move around the mid floor as Ashen does fall off the top floor. Looks very similar to the roam they had previously, of course, without the Clash playing vending. Now they've got the Jaeger instead.
Oh, Ashen, he'll seal it on up. Not able to find too much there. I think he was trying to cheese the situation just a little bit, but not able to do anything with it. He will, at a bare minimum, be able to help out Newers for some time before that gets destroyed yet again. They'll constantly go around this carousel for a while. As for Falcons, the big concern now is, Jesse, time sink. They've fallen for this trap a multitude of times thus far in this game, and finally, they'll bring something to bear. It'll be Fultz that goes down to Shaiko.
Yeah, that's a huge difference maker, right? You find Fultz. It's only the IGL, right? But he's still one of those players that was locking down the top floor, so you're happy to get a pick onto him. Now, Fultz is no longer going to be in this round, so you can focus more on these last couple of players. You feel a little bit safer as you start working the verticality, too, with this Ram of Bride, which should provide a whole lot of value coming out from them. One thing they can do if they choose to is they can go in through EXO, which is where Usus is currently positioned himself. They can get the plant down, and then Lickyfac from outside the building can just have a ridiculous coverage playing on that Maverick, watching from these ridiculous angles right here as he watches.
No!
Never mind. Nah, Lickyfac can't do anything.
EFAC! That was the most appropriate question mark. I swear, that is just not the way you want to be handling that. There's not a single person there to help EFAC, and he goes down. Now that Animus push is dead. Nobody can get them in that wall. Falcons, they've been pigeonholed into this take. Unfortunately enough, Shaiko, always good for a little shot, especially on those nitro cells. We've seen him do that twice so far in this game out of 4 rounds, which is quite impressive. But now SSG, like I was saying, they know exactly where this is coming from.
Usus got to make something happen on the Blackbeard. He's able to distract a little bit so Shaiko gets damage on a Benja, but it's not quite a kill.
The verticality is going to be a big factor here as well, as Usus looking to find any angle that he can really work to find another big frag. J90 will be able to at least take down Solitov, but time and time again, their numbers will be called up. It's Shaiko up against New! And it's done. SSG, they flip a switch, and all of Falcons drop dead.
I don't know what it is about basement on Nighthaven, Sam, but the 1v1s don't stop coming for SSG, and they don't stop winning them either. Big play coming out from Newers. The newest edition of Spacestation Gaming, the controversial pickup at the start of the year, the comeback kid. He wondered, he said in an interview after the lows that he hit on OXG, he wondered if he'd ever make it back to a high level again. And when he joined SSG, that really was the spark for him. You know, he got that motivation back. He got to be playing once again at a high level team. Now he's made it to an event like this, and I think he's really starting to feel himself on this SSG team, excuse me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Tac pause is going to come in here. It's for Falcons. I know we don't have the logo up, but I'll just tell you right now, there's no way it's for Spacestation at the end of the day. Might be, but hey, whatever. Yeah. We'll stick with this narrative for now. For Falcons, a lot to consider, a lot to think about. They have tried some different looks, they've tried some different takes, and for lack of a better term, none of them are really working. It's just not, going really well for Falcons right now. They're trying to work in through the weeds. They assumed walking into this, especially after SSG just got dusted in their best of one earlier, that they were going to have a pretty easy, kosher best of three rocking into this, and it just did not happen.
So the nice thing about SSG going to Kitchen Cafeteria and winning it is that now they don't have to play the one site they lost. So they played top floor. That was their worst bomb site by far that they didn't get a W on. So now they're saying, well, we can play 4 bomb sites on Nighthaven Labs. Let's go to the one that we haven't played yet. So it's round 5, and they're showing a brand new bomb site, something that's quite rare in Siege. Usually you show your first couple bomb sites through 1, 2, and 3, unless you're getting trampled on, in which case maybe you can reach a couple sites. But SSG both have a dominating lead now, 3-1, and also they're able to play a brand new site, which Falcons are not going to be ready for. They'll be ready, but they won't have any footage, right? They won't know what SSG like to do necessarily.
Absolutely. Now, I will say, at least for this site, that Clash ban's definitely going to be brought back into the mix here. This top floor, it's an area that you just want to constantly deny. Clash is one of the best at that. So instead, they'll have to try and use some different utility. You see Ashen working his way in with the Azami. You see New here. There's just a lot of trap ops to try and delay things out. You got the Bandit and Mute as well, but those won't be as effective as you'd really want them to be since the Torch is on the field. But obviously, we all saw the risks that you take when you are the Torch wielder. So we'll see if Usus is able to make it out alive.
Well, it's good initial Mav work, right? He gets the wall soft, which is his goal, and so then he can kind of get away. And with the Thermite A spam, sometimes that could be a lot trickier, but he manages to make it look easy, so that's nice to come out from Usus. Bride on the Monty starting to find a bit of information as they walk into Rafters. There's a lot of players top floor from SSG. Once again, it's a main floor hold, but it's going to be Benjin, Newers, and Ashen, the 3-headed spear of SSG all on the top floor, and then the support duo, J9O and False locking down the main floor. Just because they're support doesn't mean they're passive. Look at J9O here.
Yeah, this is one of the most dynamic bomb sites that we have available on this map. The ways that you can play it, the verticality that you can use, there's a lot of soft destruction over the top of this, and that's what SSG is going to be using to try and take out Falcons. In all reality, they really want Falcons to think that that side is soft. They want them to think that's so bad, Jesse. We'll see if that comes to be a factor down the line.
It was a cool shot from our observers. We showed the air jab, and then immediately SSG were aware of it, and so Newers was able to go with the impact. Not because our observers showed it, obviously, but they had intel on it somewhere else, and so Newers impacts that away. Cool little bit of util before the push.
J9O will back up into the hallway, seeing if you could get an angle on Bride, but really nothing to find here. Folds? We're going fishing. Get the chair out. Fishing pole as well. He'll walk his way in. Hasn't seen any of them. The Monty spots him. This man is done and dusted. He won't get away from EFAC. And think we're starting to get some nerves here for Falcons. The emotions are starting to show a little bit, but they will still get that pick nonetheless. Just letting him know a little bit after.
Falt's getting a little old. He's got to check those eyes, right? 25 is just around the corner for him, but unfortunately he didn't see the one Capital player, Lukifac, in that corner. Now it's going to be a 30-second execute, Sam, without numbers.
Ashen? Newers? What numbers? What numbers were you talking about?
There
what
they
numbers
go.
were you talking about? Oh my God. It's down to Bride and Shaiko. And Shaiko was all the way in Narnia. He doesn't exist. Oh my gosh, Falcons. Are we flying too close to the sun? Is Icarus wings burning up? I don't know. This is something pretty crazy, though.
I think SSG have clearly done their homework coming into this game. They know exactly what type of team Falcons are. Falcons, they like to be a little bit slow sometimes. They're a very plant-focused team. Bride, 19 plants for the season so far. They like to be a very objective-focused squad. But SSG, they're a really good team when it comes to denying that play style. They're super solid when it comes to not allowing those plants. They've only allowed plants in 12% of their defending rounds so far. Oh boy, oh boy.
I knew it. You guys didn't get to see it yet, but the map, when they chose this again after what Falcons said earlier, oh, dude, I knew it was going to start. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Now here we go. 4 versus 1 last round of this side. Spacestation, a lot to say on this top floor if they end up taking it.
Shaiko does have a point. They are on attack here, and it's going to be a defender-sided map on Nighthaven Labs. Falcons, in specific, have a 36% attacking win rate on this map this season, 73% defensive win rate. So, arguably, they're in the lead if they can even get a 4-2 split here. If they get that same 75% win rate on the second half, well, they're going to be looking very, very confident going into that second one. But obviously, the game's not played on paper, and just because you've got a good win rate in the past doesn't mean it's going to line up in this game against Spacestation. But I think it's good to keep the mental up if you're Falcons. Keep telling yourself that, like, listen, even if we go down in this first half, that's okay, because we know the stronger side is coming up next.
And hey, Spacestation knows this as good as anybody because, I mean, we've talked ad nauseum about them working on their mental. Sure. It's all about the next round, guys. You cannot think about the past. Yes, you make adjustments off of that, but emotion-wise, no. Kick it to the curb. You don't need it. We have to focus up on what's going on.
Dangerous moment there for Riyadh. He almost eats a nitro cell from faults, but thankfully he is able to back off. He heard the C4 get tossed out. That's that veteran experience that you only see from a guy like Riyadh, who's played so many years on support, knows when to run away from those nitro cells when they rip. It's a really important one to be able to dodge. Sometimes those nitros from the Bandit, they can be really, really deadly ever since they added the new arc.
100%. Able to slide those right out the bottom of the reinforcement. And if you're able to just get a couple pixels of that nitro past that, that's just enough damage to take out really anybody standing close. So Falcons will finally work the wall open here. It's taken a little bit of time, but honestly, they're still in pretty good timing for this top floor. IT's always been something that's kind of difficult to work with, so they'll get the job done.
Seems decently similar to the last time Team Falcons attacked this bomb site. That was quite successful, except that one opened with a pick onto Benja in IT. Benja's playing a lot safer this time, just playing close onto the electrical door. So I like that. He's playing SAS. That's going to be the spot that he wants to be playing in anyways. Kind of looks like he wants to drop, and I mean, if he does and he finds Leaky Fact, then it's certainly worth it. But I think with that logic bomb coming through, he'll probably start to think better of it. And Leaky Fact's just looking at this Aqua Hall and wants to push up in the fish stairs and find a frag himself. It's all going to be known, though. SSG are pretty aware of what Falcons want to do on this point.
Oh, some big moments here for J9, and he'll be able to deliver. They know the BB's here as well, but we're looking at EFAC. He has to come through and be able to assist, but he's not there in decent timing. Can't find the player through the smoke either, and he's stuck. He's not able to make any progress here on blue stairs. Ashen will be the one to take down Shaiko instead, and oh my, Usis. He's not able to get that pick. It escapes his grasp, and it's just down to these two remaining Falcons players, as I don't think they're making it out of server alive. EFAC, you had all that stuff to say inside of that round you guys picked up, and it's radio silence after a 5-1 half.
Fish stairs looking like a massacre. Everyone on that side of the map coming in from Falcons, and they all just bled out to pieces. There was that flank that came in. We were staring at Benja as he stared at the hatch, deciding if he wants to drop Lounge or not. I didn't think he would do it after the logic bomb, but he eventually did decide to make his move once his teammates were calling that, hey, yes, there is a cap tower at the bottom of my stairs. Please come flank. So Benja said absolutely. And he was caught on a drone, which was really good preparation coming out from Falcons, right? They do the little things really, really well, but it didn't matter. When he's close range playing SAS, he's going to hit those shots. He's going to do what he does best. So Benja still is able to pull off a brilliant flank to come through to help out his teammates. Obviously, at the top of those stairs, we saw some ridiculous shots come through from J9O as well. Jack was by far the MVP coming through in that lower bracket run for SSG. They won, I believe, 8 maps in that lower bracket run, so they had 8 map wins. J9O was the sole MVP in 4 of them. So the rest of his team only had to share the other half of the games to have an MVP slot. J9O was by far the most impactful player, and you see it here, right? When he's on the defense especially, he's just so good at positioning, so good at the crosshair placement, so good under pressure. There are very few players in the world like J9O.
It's just so mind-boggling to me that this is the SSG that we're seeing even some variant of from what we saw earlier in the day. It's truly incredible what these guys are capable of when their back is up against the wall. But now, here's the true test. We switch sides. Falcons have the power position. Everybody loves playing defense on Nighthaven Labs.
Yep.
We'll see what SSG is able to accomplish from this offensive side.
Yeah, do not count out Team Falcons.
No.
This is their map pick. They said it themselves that this is going to be a defender-sided map. Now it's time to live up for that. Operator bans came through, and they were fully focused on the walls. Double electricity ban coming through from SSG, double hard breach ban coming through from Falcons. A little interesting, they go for the Habana and the Thermite, means the Ace is still going to be available. Often you'll see maybe the Thermite and the Ace to get some of those larger hard breachers out of the pocket, but SSG have decided they don't like hard breachers anyways, and so they're just going to let Ashen be the only guy with hard breach. Oh, fault is on Ace. I'm blind. Sorry. Well, they'll then use that operator that I was just mentioning not getting banned out, and should have real no problems dealing with these walls. There's not even mute jammers that got brought out by Falcons.
Yeah, I always love the redundancy that I see inside of SSG lineups. You know, it might look like they might be playing something a little bit more aggressive or whatever the situation is, but this is perfect here. You got good clearance, you got the EMPs here from Benja. If he goes down, you got J90 with the Twitch drones. There's just a lot of things that make it to where you're a little bit more free on your role, and that's what you want to see. If somebody's chained down and can't take a fight for half the round, your life really just sucks, Jesse. It's just not fun.
Mirror window getting popped on IT wall, but since the Ace charge is so tall, and then they're going to throw one at the bottom too, they're just going to make the wall soft, as you often would with either a Habana or a Maverick. It's a little messy with the impact, but I think they're going to get the job done anyways. The mirror window might make it a little awkward, and certainly the Kibas, but I think you can still crouch through that if you need to.
You really want to look for that pick there in IT. And to be fair, Falcon's constantly flirting with it. It's going to be EFAC right there as he's constantly reapplying those Kiba barriers. The 417, so good at clearing those out, though. He'll break it down yet another one. I think EFAC has his last Kiba in hand. So that'll be it.
Yep.
It's already halfway through the round as well. So for all intents and purposes, SSG, honestly, on pretty solid timing.
Yeah, they will need to find an answer to this clash. Use this inside connector at the moment. It's going to be a big problem for them. Be able to get a lot of information. They do lose the opening pick. Shaiko dies to J90, the guy who was glazing at the end of the last round. So that's a nice start for them, and they've forced users back really well.
That was 3 people standing on top of that Rotero drone. That is just so terrifying. Solid double takedown J90. The clash here is starting to do a little work as well, as it will hold back. It will impede this offense as they try and work their way in through the connector. Smoke's out now, and it's looking like it's the time for Spacestation.
All right, they got good pings on the one Clash player inside.
Oh, no.
That's a team kill from Ashen. That might really throw a wrench into the plans, though, Sam.
That is terrible. That's exactly what you don't want to happen right here, is they're trying to shoot down the last Kiba barrier that EFAC had, and now they're in a terrible situation. 3-man up right now for Spacestation, as Ashen will find one. Brede will put down Newers, though, and this is just looking so complicated, especially with Brede playing close with his shotgun. I mean, it's very problematic, and they'll split the vision of the offense, and Spacestation have got to be feeling the pain after Ashen accidentally kills his teammate.
So I think you go back to that round, you start to get a little bit questionable about where the fights are happening for SSG. That push had 1 player going IT, and then it had 4 players pushing kind of the jungle electrical side of the map, right? The first player to die on Spacestation was J90 in IT. And so once he goes down, that second dimension that you have to your push to cause pressure to those players that are holding the close angles on jungle or on electrical, well, you don't have that anymore. And nobody from Spacestation made the rotate over. Falcons, especially with the clash, were able to really lock down that linear push. There were only so many angles SSG could flood through, and Falcons did a great job of locking those down. So strong start to this defensive half. They get their first round on the board, they avoid any disaster, and they can start to mount this comeback that I think we all know they're capable of.
Oh, yeah. Making some headway right now. They're going to bring things downstairs and see exactly what they're capable of. We saw SSG in their very first round downstairs just basically pull around out from under Falcons, the rug and all. As we saw, I believe, Benja be able to pull that off. So, see if Falcons are able to channel anything of the sort. I would highly doubt it is as crazy as a result as we saw previously, but hey, you never know what will happen in this game.
Falcons running a very similar setup to what they would often run. Shaiko, of course, playing on the Azami's favorite op on this site. Uses on the Miro, something he loves to play down in the basement of this bomb site too. So, relatively standard hold coming out. It is a roam game. Looking back upstairs in IT, same position that we saw from Ashen on this bomb site. And then main floor, you've currently got Brede and Saltov just holding down staircases, right? Making sure that Liquifac can rotate away if he needs to. Given Liquifac, though, I wouldn't be surprised if he wants to go for a 1v1 and maybe take a frag before he goes too crazy. Noticing where SSG are at, they've got a lot of bodies over around cafeteria, over around lobby. They might just be looking to ignore the roamers on this map and just go straight down the vending stairs, which is risky, but can save them a lot of time.
Breach will be able to get at least the kitchen wall open. They'll have some vision in through that as they're looking to clear things out on this mid floor. I have a couple of Falcons players to worry about. Got Legion off on your left-hand side there. That's going to be Brede as another one peels off. Brede might be assigned to this position, especially as he's standing on top of a mute jammer. None of those calls working towards him right now. They will at least be able to drone him out. So, although Doke doesn't find him, he will at a bare minimum be able to do that. I think he just turned his phone off, actually, before everybody else did. And that was a situation that I was like, that was very fast. Just didn't exactly get to see the animation. But either way, Space Station making some decent headway. Second Logic Bomb will come out. We'll see if they're able to make anything out of it.
They kind of need to, right? The time's getting away from them, so they would love to get a pick to make sure they have the advantage. But I think actually, with all the sound, the Logic Bomb and the Ram, they're just sending it into sight.
Oh, Falcons, they'll be able to take down one, take down two. Use this, you are disgusting. That is, wow. SSG will be able to at least battle back a little bit, but Usus delivers yet again. That's 3 kills out of the Vector as he's looking for a 4th. Foltz goes for the fight. No Shite goes in behind this space here on the Kiba barrier, and what a shot out of him. It's down to a 1 versus 3, and that will be basically it, as Brede very quickly deals with the player working his way into barrels.
And that is ridiculously fundamental anchor play coming out from the Brit on Falcons. Usus really steps up there in the way that he needed to. SSG were doing something a little sneaky. Again, they used as much sound coverage as they possibly could, try to make that rush down EXO as maybe as unsuspecting as possible, but Usus was always ready for it. He wasn't sleepy. He wasn't caught with anybody catching him off guard. Instead, he was the one who was getting ready, taking advantage of some of those teammates that were going down, trading them out when he could, doing a really good job of stopping that rush down EXO, as that was going to be kind of the main threat that SSG were presenting to them. So good from Usus to be able to answer that back and keep Falcons on this streak.
100%. The star of that round through and through, and showing up when it mattered most, especially the fact that he's taking those decently long-distance gunfights with a 1x on Mira, and he gets every single one of them. That's what the Falcons were expecting when they ended up switching sides. Get a little bit more comfortable when you are on that Nighthaven defense, and then people start to warm up a little bit. We see that out of Usus in this previous round.
So this kind of ends up being the real test for SSG, right? You lost the primary bomb site. Okay, that's expected. You lost the secondary bomb site. All right, it's Nighthaven. That's kind of expected too. This is the tertiary site. This is the one site that is an attacking team you are expected to be able to get a victory on. And that's broadly true for any map, but I think for Nighthaven Labs that can be quite true too. Storage is one of those sites that if you get top floor control, it can be really, really tough for the defender to lock onto. Getting top floor is often much easier said than done. That's why Falcons have 4 players up the top floor, but SSG, based on where Newers was looking, they might have been looking to rush, but a Goyo gets popped and they decide better of it.
Yeah, the Goyo's doing a very solid job of slowing down a lot of teams here today, it seems.
Yeah, we saw it earlier too, didn't we?
Man, yeah, that was a spectacle to behold, I can definitely tell you that. As for Foltz, though, he sees the Mira open. We've seen this time and time again when it comes to this IT wall, but I don't think we're going to get any deliverance when it comes to any special packages.
Could have also, I guess, been a Twitch drone up. It seems a little bit more likely if they were able to pop that just at the start. Regardless of what ends up popping it, it's going to be Util that's no longer around for the actual push when it comes through by SSG. They've started to open up IT wall. Often all you need for a push in storage is somebody covering the plant from any nitro cells outside the building and then control over the IT wall. You don't even need to enter IT. You just got to make sure you can hold it so nobody on the defense rushes up and denies that plant from up above. Basement can be a threat sometimes too if you've got like a pulse or something, but nothing like that being brought on Falcons, so I wouldn't worry so much about it if I was SSG. I say as Saltov runs down to the basement, so maybe he's got something cooking. I don't know.
Could be. Could be. Space Station are taking their time now, already halfway through the round, and Benj is going to go down to a pixel angle that Solotov is holding for the main hallway. That's a nice find as he will work his way back into sight and more than likely rotate back over to that cargo stairs area. Nitro cell out towards Newers, quite a bit of damage. Ashen will find a nice little frag up against Brede. But, I mean, Falcons, honestly, a bang-up job thus far as they've been able to slow down SSG. They will be able to at least take out one more as Solotov will deliver. Down to the 3 versus 3. Actually, down to the 1 versus 3 as the rest of SSG are able to find these Falcons players. Ashen goes down somehow, some way. Not able to make heads or tails of that from this camera angle here on Solotov, but he's down in the hallway. Might have been a goo mine or something of the sort, but either way, it's up to Solotov still, and J90 will find him. and that is map point in their hands.
They know that that's the one that they had to win. That was do or die on the tertiary side. I was explaining ahead of time. Ashen, really big player to step up there. Again, he's been a guy that has had some ridiculous tournaments in the past. We know how talented he is. But at the start of the year, he went to Reload, had his worst event ever back in, what was that? May, I believe. Yeah, back in May. Came into that tournament, really did not perform to his standards, talked about it a lot kind of on social media and in video interviews. And now to come into this game here at EWC, he started the day, again, 3-8 with an abysmal stat line. Took a little while to get going in this game too. That was the first round where he really was able to take over, as he so often does. If Ashen is starting to get excited, if Ashen is starting to talk back a little bit, well, that's going to make all the difference for SSG. It is that round where he goes positive for the first time this game, starts really feeling good about it for SSG, getting them to match point. I
love how attentive Spacestation has been, and same for Falcons. I mean, these teams really understand each other. And although Falcons have a little bit of a slip up there, it doesn't mean that they can't pull this back to overtime.
Yeah.
They've been very impressive time and time again, but the thing I will say about Spacestation is that they are giving respect over to Falcons in spades right now. You see it inside of that round right there. Nobody's immediately assuming just because they vacated the top floor for a split second that they're not going to re-peak. And here comes Shaiko back through that hallway, and Ashen's able to take him down. So SSG doing their due diligence, man. That's what you need to do up against Falcons. Like you said earlier, Falcons are all about the little things. That means you have to be too.
Ace ban from Falcons, so we are just going to have can openers and the Maverick to try to open up the walls on Nighthaven. It's going to be really tough if you're SSG. Again, you banned out Kaid and Bandit, so it's not the end of the world, but especially against this mirror window on the IT wall. I mean, that is a scary thing to go against. Probably we'll see a can opener try to deal with that, maybe go up above, because just with a Maverick, I mean, that can be really awkward to deal with, but that'll be on SSG to try to solve, to get that problem and figure it out on their end. Looks like they're going for a similar style of push, Sam, where they are going to be focusing mostly on kind of connector, getting in through jungle, getting in through IT, and making that push happen.
Well, it always starts with IT. That's the thing about this bomb site. IT is so pivotal to your success. It sits right next door to that bomb site. They're practically neighbors. Blackbeard will pop his way through. Nothing happening with that mirror window at all. It gets punched. Nobody's home to really try and do anything with it. I mean, if SSG take this round, Jesse, this might be something we come back to talk about.
Yeah, weird not to see the window get popped. That would have added a lot of pressure to Faults. Newers' job is, of course, to make sure no shenanigans could occur. What is this angle coming out from J90? Gets a couple of shots off, but no damage dealt to Team Falcons. That was a bit of a sneaky one, but nothing comes of it. Benjamash is going to enter in from down below. There's nobody down here for him to find, but that's just good for him. He's going to be able to try to work some of that value in from down below. They banned the Clash, so that's not going to be something they have to worry about. But if you can start popping these mirror windows from down below, you can start making these guys dance so that they can't feel comfortable in the power positions, especially just outside electrical door, where Shaiko's currently playing. Well, that buck can have a huge impact on the round.
Dead silence in the server until the shots head towards Newer's way. They'll get lit up a little bit. They're in solid timing right now. As long as they can maintain this pace, this is a very, very good prospect for them. The Maverick will assist. The bullets will come through. Shaiko, he usually ends up winning those, but not a single bullet rings out from that SMG, and that will be the downfall of him. Now Brede trying to hold things down with the M590 yet again, and you can see EFAC trying to help with this utility as well. This will slow down the push from SSG if they try to work through that ice.
Last time, J90 was the first one to die, IT. If he dies again, that really eliminates the second dimension to this push and could cause big problems for Spacestation.
Solitov, top brackets right now, looking to see if he can potentially do anything, hold down the flank. He knows that Spacestation have to be adding another dynamic layer to this, but the timing's too bad! No information in Garage punishes Solitov. He was doing it all with just his own timing in his brain, and SSG, have they done it? Spacestation to mission control! Mission accomplished on game one.
Yeah, that's, again, Falcons' pick as well, Sam. Don't forget how important that is in the series, because now SSG are heading to their pick of border, 1-0 up in the series. Falcons were right. It was a defender-sided game, and they did start that comeback, but SSG had too much of a lead built up. They had too strong of an advantage in that first half, and then they still were able to lock down really good attacks as well to get some big rounds happening there on the top floor. Really impressive stuff from Spacestation. They did not let that first game get to them. It was a disaster to start things off, but it didn't matter. They had a great response.
We're going to see the true colors of both of these teams right here.
Yeah.
You know, Spacestation, we're going to test their mettle. We're going to test to see what they have in store for us. For Falcons, it's going to be, can you potentially imbue this game with something special? You have time and time again gotten away with murder, Jesse, up against teams just because of how mechanically talented you are.
For sure.
And now Spacestation is putting your ass to the fire. We'll see what they're able to do on map 2.
Yeah, pressure's going to be building for Falcons. Of course, they know how important these next couple of games are. Being out on the first day at EWC, I mean, nobody predicted that from Team Falcons. They're not out yet. They've got 2 more maps to prove that they have what it takes to push it all the way. After suffering some tough losses here at the first day of EWC, they can bounce back and pull this, but it's still a long road.
There's a long road ahead of us, my friend, and a pretty short break coming up right now.
Reach your impossible. Lenovo Legion.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's Falcons versus Spacestation Gaming. And if you just missed it, Spacestation just did a little skeet shooting as they took out the Falcons on their own map pick of Nighthaven Labs. And man, do we have a special prospect for you guys from map 2 if you don't know the map pool. Jesse, we're going to Border.
Sam, I love Casting Border. It's a very explosive and fast map, and I think that's the playstyle that really does favor a team like SSG, excuse me. They've got a 3-1 record on it this season. They've played it 4 times for the North America League, beating Cloud9, Dark Zero, and OXG. But they lost to Dark Zero in the rematch, and that was a pretty brutal 7-2 back on the 20th of July. So, going to be interesting to see if maybe that's a game that affects SSG in the long term. I expect they'll still be feeling quite confident on it, given they chose it against Team Falcons here, but this is certainly going to be a place where SSG are comfortable on.
Yes, and you can see on the faces of these Falcons players how much this tournament means overall. I cannot underestimate, I cannot over-explain how much Falcons have accomplished at EWC across the years. It's actually truly unprecedented. Just the last 2 EWCs, they've won both of them. That is just insane. This man right here, you get him on sand, he just levels up. I mean, he should just have a tote underneath his desk wherever he plays. He needs to steal some from the desert out here and bring it home. But for 2025, it's been nothing but glass. They've been melted down to nothing. And now, with their backs truly against the wall, they have to win 2 maps in a row up against Spacestation Gaming, a team that was forged in the fire of the under bracket in North America. I don't think it gets better than this.
Team Falcons yet to play Border all season long as well, Sam. I was just looking at the notes. I haven't played it since last season when they were under a different organization. So this is a big test, right? Do we see this team coming out with a bunch of stuff that they've had in the pocket? Have they been preparing it for an important moment just like this? Or are SSG going to be having just a grand old time playing aggressive on a map like Border, which really does allow you to speak with your guns, right? I mean, it's a map where the opening pick can be incredibly important. It can be insanely decisive. If you don't get that first frag, or if you don't at least trade it out back immediately, then the whole round can fall apart from that. So the early round is super critical on a map like this. We'll have to see how Falcons and SSG end up tackling it, but it's a tall task from Falcons. They're going to have to really dig deep to dig out of this hole.
100%. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know right now, this best of 3 that you are witnessing, this would be a semifinal, grand final kind of situation across this last year. Both of these teams, truly incredible.
SSG have not beaten this Team Falcons core since the Yongshiping Major back in 2022. That's the only time they've ever beaten this team, and that was a BO1 as well, I should mention, back when we had BO1s at Majors. So SSG, they've not historically done well against this core. I mean, historically, Falcons / BDS have really owned Spacestation, and it's very similar players, almost the exact same teams on both sides. So for Spacestation to be now putting up such a statement map 1, winning their opponent's pick, now they come into their own map pick at border. I mean, again, the game is not written on paper, it is played in the server. We always say that, but you've got to be feeling pretty comfortable if you're Spacestation in this spot.
100%. And Falcons are going to do the right thing. They'll choose defense here on border. That's really the spot that you want to be when it comes to this map, because border is so compact that you can truly play the full breadth of it. The people that really innovated this way back in the day was actually Foxe and Laxing on Oxygen, just letting those two run amok, specifically Foxe on that bottom floor, just an absolute demon with his pulse play.
Yep.
Maybe we can see a little bit of that channeled here today. We would definitely expect that just because of, well, the circumstances of border.
SSG, again, a large sample size on this map. They've played it so far 4 times through this season, and they've got a much better defensive win rate than offensive. 61% defensive win rate, 42% attacking win rate. Sometimes border can be a map that does lean towards the attackers. I've always found it's very coin flip, kind of 50-50, but it's very team dependent too, right? And for a squad like SSG, they lean more into the defender side, and I think it makes sense for Falcons to kind of take that away to start the game. We can't really know if Falcons are better on attack or defense because they haven't played it so far this season, but I mean, we'll have to wait and find out. This game should give us that answer.
Oh, hoodie on now for Fultz. Things get a little bit more scary. Nah, I'm kidding. It's just imagine it's the same thing as the Pangu effect. Just drops 20 in this server. You never know. But I'll definitely tell you this. I'm excited to see what Falcons are capable of. This is the exact situation that I've wanted to see them in for so long.
Yeah.
Very early on in the tournament, you are facing elimination up against a team like Spacestation that their entire prerogative for over a calendar year has been to get the mental right for a situation like this. And so far, so good.
You can't play scared against SSG on border. You're gonna have to match them in the early game. I want to see players on Falcons going for aggressive swings. That's gonna mean maybe running out the east stairs, maybe going for a quick peek coming out of the break room door, right? Wherever you can find that position to get a little bit aggressive, Falcons have got to find it. That's going to be on their entry players, right? That's going to be on Saltov, that's going to be on Shaiko, be on LickyFac as well a little bit as that flex IGL. If he dies early, he can focus more just on the calling, so it's not the end of the world if LickyFac does go down, but these are the players on Falcons that really need to step up in the early game and take it to SSG. Spacestation have not been the best entry team so far this season, just a 43% attacking entry, or attacking win rate overall, I should say, on board overall. So that's a weakness the Falcons could maybe exploit, but they've got to get in and do that.
Yeah, 100%. And it seems to be that both of these teams respectively know exactly how this map ticks down to a T. Falcons, they're going to take the shield play away from border. Probably the most impactful genre of operators that you can bring on this map, because you don't really need hard breach all that much. Yeah, it's nice. You can get box wall open and that kind of stuff. But imagine if I had a Monty. Man, that'd be a lot more fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, that would make a big difference. The Monty and the Blitz can certainly be strong bans. SSG taking out both a Zombie and Smoke. That's going to be a ban that really focuses the East Stairs. Those are the 2 strongest ops in the game for locking down East Stairs. That could be a real power position that certain teams really lean on for their top floor defenses, for their bathroom defenses as well. So to take both those operators away, you kind of force them to choose some other option. It looks like LickyFac has opted to play that position with the Tachanka, so I'll be really excited to see what he can do with that. It's not exactly the same as Smoke. You can certainly run through those with a little bit more ease, but hoping to do the same thing as stalling out those players before he gets cleared out.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, place your bets now or forever hold your peace. Does Spacestation Gaming knock it out in 2-0 fashion, or does Falcons force a third map? Want to hear you guys all in chat talking about that back and forth. 1s and 2s, baby. 1s and 2s. You know the drill. Benj is going to get rid of the camera here at the bottom of main. We already saw the buck work in from Newers. So we'll start to dissect this map. See what the Falcons exactly have going on.
Yeah, so Newers and Fault's both going to be entering in kind of through Passport now, and once again, the goal is going to be to apply a little bit of pressure onto LickyFac. He's moved up actually all the way to the hallway, so it's kind of playing a bit more passive on that East Stairs position. A lot of teams will be playing that spot from down below, even inside of waiting. Doesn't look like we're going to see that from Falcons, though. They're going to take it a little bit more traditional, a little bit more passive. Part of that probably does come from the operator bans on the Tachanka. If you get caught down inside of waiting, you could be in a really rough spot, but LickyFac will really be the sole focal point as he starts to fall back now, but even still, if they find a pick on him early, that'll be a big difference maker. Oh, damage.
Yeah, EFAC taking quite a bit of it. Newer is working towards top east. He'll get rid of the barbed wire. Falcons very aware of the situation that lays in front of them right now. Have to worry about those crosses. That's why you don't see anybody really trying to challenge all that much over here in the office space. But Shaiko will find one here in the front area. Able to take down at least one around that balcony, and he'll skimper off now. The Blackbeard not able to do too much here for Ashen as he was not willing to risk that angle. Now Falcons will get away with that initial pick that they wanted so badly.
Yeah, and Liquefact down in the bathroom. He actually dropped the hatch. That's maybe not as safe as he's expecting with Newers being down there. The rest of SSG will take the space that was given for free, though, and they will start to move their way in through offices. Last nade from Ashen gets tossed out to clear out some positionings inside of Archives, and that goes just splendid for him. That early pick from Shaiko that got that man advantage onto Benjamaster, playing instead of break, and he gets back out too. Can they capitalize on that, though, Sam?
Yeah, they're worried about this Fountain player, but there's a rotate there instead. And no, they don't see him in behind. He was prone. Shaiko will go down to Fultz. It's a 4 versus 3. Bride delivers with the M590, though. J90 will find one of his own, and that will be the first round going to Falcons as they keep them at bay.
And don't ever count out a guy like Bride. You know, he may be the second oldest player at this event, only after Rookie of the Year Canadian, but still, his ability to manage that clock, to be able to utilize that positioning that he has inside the bomb site, I think, is second to none. Really confident SAS play, playing inside of Archives, was able to take advantage of the fact that so much time was wasted on that east clear. Once he's in the site, happy to lock it down. 2 big kills coming out there. Of course, Shaiko a couple of big ones too. And as I mentioned, Liquefact on the Chichanka. Didn't get any kills in that round, but I thought was really important in distracting for Shaiko's first kill, and then also just wasting time from the clock.
Yeah, absolutely. Falcons, a huge boon when it came to that round, specifically from Shaiko, as he's able to use those good graces and finally pull one back across the line here. And this is the very first time that Falcons has had the lead in this entire series.
That's true. They finally lead on a map here, 1-0 up against SSG. Starting defense on border, maybe you'd expect that, but even still, I think they're going to take the wins where they can get them after how map 1 really went for them. Started the comeback on defense, if you'll remember, but weren't really able to rope it back in. You know, they couldn't complete the comeback. You can set yourself up now where you don't need to complete a comeback. Well, that'll be a big difference maker. We see a cheeky Electroclaw actually below one of those top floor walls coming out from Bride. It will be interesting to see if that has any impact coming out from SSG. With Newers on the Brava, if they don't know where that Electroclaw actually is, that could end up being a huge problem for him.
Oh, Ashen with a huge find. He just bullies his way into security and kills EFAC.
He's just in.
He just decimated him on the bookshelves.
All right.
Oh, wow. That's disgusting. Yeah, you don't see that one every day. SSG gonna practically just get away with murder right there. EFAC, the Solus as well, somebody that's so good at dealing with info game in the middle of the round, will now be waiting in the wings for round 3.
Just Ashen things, because they chose to double reinforce that Locker's wall, and they've got the Electroclaw down below as well to support it, means that you can't play as aggressive to support your security player. So, I mean, these are the choices you make as a defending team, and these are the consequences of them. Most teams will play with that wall at least partially open so they can support Liquefact from inside of lockers, but that didn't happen this time around. So, nice little entry from Ashen. Still, 2 players up top. It's Uzus and Saltov who have buried themselves inside of offices, and as I say that, Sam, one of them hits the deck.
What a find. And Falcons, the big thing right now, constantly stepping up to the plate. That's what we're seeing right now, Jesse. Now, I will give them the benefit of the doubt. They did get some really good frags inside of that first round because of scenarios like that, but now they are falling flat on their face as SSG has completely broken down border to its very bare bones. Constantly able to find these picks. It's like SSG was a ghost in the system. Every decision made by Falcons, the wrong one.
And we're starting to hear the vocal cords of Ashen here in Riyadh as well, as he starts to yell over at the reigning EWC champions, having a big old time up against Falcons. That was a really clean round from Spacestation. Again, I think a lot of it comes down to the way Falcons wanted to hold that. They were quite spread apart. They weren't really going to be in positions to trade each other as they ended up going down one after another. And then even in the site, you saw on the 1v5, a Nitro was thrown to the ceiling. Nobody was above him. He swings out the doorway, doesn't check the angle that's being held on him there. Just felt like Falcons really were never in control of that round, didn't know what SSG were trying to go for, and Spacestation, I mean, every angle was being watched.
Yeah, Spacestation are such a solid team at breaking down border, and I think that's what makes Falcons' life so hard on that downstairs bomb site, just with how they implemented things on that top floor. You said it yourself, when you try and play things out on the top floor like that, although very important and practically a necessity, it does have ramifications, and that's exactly what we saw. Spacestation and, I mean, Ashen right off rip just flies in through the security window, gets that big pick, and starts to set the pace for the rest of the round. Falcons are constantly trying to battle back and find a big pick of their own, but every time they go to search for it, they die time and time again. And now it's a 1-1. Both of these teams neck and neck here on border.
Bathroom will be the third site chosen by Falcons, as you would come to expect. Currently a little bit of a run out from the top floor of Saltov. It's everybody up above except for the sole anchor of Brito, who's currently just inside a bathroom. Newer's on the Nook, hoping to make some kind of a cheeky play, but I mean, walking up metal, you got to imagine there's some kind of information on that. Maybe a goo mine on the staircase, maybe a Valcam that's watching, although that won't be so effective against the Nook that creeps their way up.
Indeed. We don't get to see her all that often anymore. Ever since Ubi decided to take away her silent step, or the little bit of quietness that you get when you do use that operator, hasn't exactly worked out too well for her, but she is able to still slip past those cameras, and that's a big, big factor here as EFAC falls into the waiting arms of a Nook below the hatch.
Yeah, there was barbed wire on the stairs, so he knew he couldn't walk up those steps, but found a different way to be impactful. That's really key. A lot of times you see Nooks run into barbed wire, and then they're just, well, I guess my round is over. I can't do anything. My whole operator is useless. But no, still finding good value for Newers. That's really, really creative.
Solotov now on his own island. Jesse, I'm so worried for this positioning here. Not because Solotov's doing something wrong, just SSG have so many bodies over here, and that's a huge moment. He's not able to follow through on Ashen. That could have irreparably changed the round, but instead, Spacestation maintain 5 men on the board up against Bride and Shaiko.
Oh, and he didn't even kill Faults. He gets picked back up, so it's a 5v2, Sam, Shaiko, and Bride. The OG members of this squad need to lock it down.
Shaiko will be able to at least find one. Case is on Fultz, so do mark that. It's now down to Shaiko time. Somebody better clock in at the clutch factory, because they need it right now. Bride, I think he's working overtime. I mean, he's been doing that for years.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. Down to the 2 versus 4, though. Things kind of slowing to a halt for just a split second as SSG continue to try and find ways to manipulate this site.
So Fault's got the fuse kit, but he's also really low on HP. If he gets tickled by a nitro or even a goo mine, things could be a problem for him, but they dodged the nitro cell from Bride, so that's not going to be an issue. We'll now have that opportunity to go for a drop. They could drop the workshop hatch and try to make their way into site, but I mean, the expectation here would be that they're dropping bathroom, and that is obviously laid with goo mines, and everybody on Falcons is paying attention to that.
This is getting really scary, especially because Spacestation is actually taking a lot of time to get to this. So, you know, if things don't go off immediately without a hitch, then it's going to become extremely problematic. But SSG, they found Shaiko, and that was the big thing there that was holding up this bomb site. No cross angles for Bride. He now has to try and force things, but he knows that these angles exist, and he was able to at least find Ashen, but this case is down, and we know how unbelievably difficult this situation is whenever this case does reach the floor on this bomb site. Bride will go down. Spacestation Gaming looking fantastic so far here on border.
And just a small smile crosses the face of Captain Fault in the middle of his men. Ridiculous round coming out from him. First he gets the trade, right? He's not the first player to drop bathroom hatch because he knows that's a death sentence. Instead, somebody else approaches that hatch first. He gets the trade on his teammate to make it a 1v3, so now they've got that numbers advantage. As soon as he gets that kill, drops in, goes for the plants. He leads the world in the most number of plants so far this season in the North America League. 29 before this event. Not sure how many plants he got in his first game of the day, but regardless, having a huge impact now to get that second plant, and then kills the final player as well. I mean, doing all of it himself. Good round by Faults.
I mean, he's been in good company for so long. That's the thing about Fultz. He has always been around players that will continue to, I mean, just make you improve, man. And Fultz has always been that guy. He is looking for a new way to bring something into the fold to make him a better player. And he's just reached this amazing point in his esports career where he really is capable of doing it all. I mean, guys, do not be shocked by Fultz when he hits some shots. This was one of the demons of North America back in the day. And I mean, he's definitely earned that. But for Falcons, still a little bit of time in the tank here on this defense. Still some changes to be made.
Yeah, they'll go through the operator bans now. It's the Twitch and it's the Mira. So one operator that counters another. That Twitch ban a little bit less impactful with the Mira being removed. I'm sure Falcons aren't thrilled to see that off, getting taken off the board, but it also shouldn't be a surprise. It could be really powerful, especially on that top floor of borders. So good to see that being removed now from SSG. And then Falcons, of course, with that Twitch gone, will still be able to play some strong operators like the Goyo, who can get really annoyed by a Twitch, like the Mute, and certainly like that Valkyrie, who can all really suffer to those Twitch drones, which can be such a pest.
Absolutely. Spacestation. Maybe bring in a recently similar flavor to what we have been seeing. Won't have the Blackbeard inside of this lineup, although it wasn't banned, but you don't necessarily need it. They've got a lot of dislodgement inside of this lineup, especially with Benja working its way in. You know, you got the frag grenades as well on J90 and Ashen, so a lot of beneficial things here for Spacestation Gaming, as I think we're going to see a similar pacing to what we saw earlier on, Jesse. They're going to pick apart the map, get these windows open, get these angles available to them, and see if they can get Falcons to make a misplay.
So now they've got a bit of a different setup over towards East. Previously it was LickyFax solo on the Tachanka. Now LickyFax is bottom East playing on that Solas, and Shaiko is playing at the top over here on the Valkyrie. Maybe a bit more of a tag team coming out from the most skilled players on Team Falcons. They don't end up engaging with anybody at the end of it. Both of them kind of fall off in different ways. LickyFax downstairs in like workshop at the moment, so very separated from the rest of his team. SSG, I'm not 100% sure if they're aware of that play or not, but Shaiko's not done. Re-peeks East and gets the entry pick on Ashen.
Unbelievable find from him. And that's the thing about Shaiko. He is constantly able to find moments like this. I mean, he saw a couple pixels of Ashen's head, and he's immediately dead. It is just so unbelievably impressive what this man is capable of doing, especially with an MPX. Able to take out J90 as well. And oh man, I mean, the talking has been just crazy out of Falcons today.
He's mad. He's mad, and that's where he plays the best. I mean, ridiculous shots coming out from Shaiko. Now there's 60 seconds for SSG to claw together this 3v5 execute. Everybody's here over around East. Step one is stopping Shaiko. And
oh no!
Thank God they get the headshot on the rappel in there, because that would have been a perfect timed moment from Shaiko. But the monster is dead. Now you just got to find his 4 friends.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? Falcons is more like a Hydra than anything. It's like, I finally killed Shaiko. There's 4 more heads. Yeah. Damn it. And only 30 seconds remaining. So hope you have your Slayer stat pretty high there, Fultz. He'll take down EFAC, stun him. But Benja, he cooks too much. He takes down Fultz through the wall. It's a 2 versus 2 with 20 seconds remaining. He'll put fire over the top. Falcons, can you find this frag? This will change up everything here if he's able to follow through. Use this, will be able to get one, and Brede with the other. Falcons tie it up on the defensive side.
Yeah, big 2v2 coming out there. They really do lock things down. It comes down to the early game, I think, still from Shaiko. He gets traded out, and Benja, nearly the European on SSG, nearly brings that one back from the dead, but unfortunately, the headshot into his teammate, obviously completely accidental through the soft wall. That is a tough one to know when it's happening, but still really good from Falcons to pull that one back. You saw just how clean they were in that early round. Shaiko, when he's let off that leash, when he's not afraid of anybody, he can really make magic happen. So we saw that coming out from him. Good late round as well, of course, coming out from the whole team, but looking solid on this map.
Yeah, there's a reason that over the years, time and time again, as long as Shaiko has been in pro play, we have referenced him as one of the best players in the entire world. And he has time and time again taken the moniker of best player in the world. Sometimes it goes down just a tiny, tiny bit, maybe to like second, and then he bounces right back up to first. He's just so unbelievably consistent.
Yep.
And I mean, that's the thing. That's why we've sang his praises for so long.
Well, Sam, there's a very simple way to say all of this, right? 3-time MVP. Every time he's come to Saudi Arabia to play in one of these big events, whether it's Gamers 8 or Esports World Cup, he has been the MVP, the receiver of that massive cash prize for the best individual at the tournament. Shaiko has consistently been the only Rainbow Six player who's been able to accept that prize. And so for Shaiko, he's got a bit of a legacy to uphold, and he is certainly proving that now, just 4 rounds into Border, 6 kills.
I mean, I know we're only 4 rounds in, Jesse, but you can feel the energy in between these two right now. You can feel the angst building and just how much this game means. Please remember, folks, for those that have not been watching this game today, hi, welcome. My name's Stokes. That's Jesse J. Chick. This is a lower bracket game where Ashen and the rest of SSG are looking to go fast into the top floor. They get 2 kills. They will completely eviscerate this top floor hold. There's one more player here, Solotov, to try and save the team, but Volts knows of his existence, and he makes sure that it ceases to persist. Ashen will knock it down to the 1 versus 4. It's Brede, the support clutch king across the history of Siege. Down to do it again, Brede? I don't really know. No Nitro Cell for you. Death Mark might be the death rattle here, as Falcons are looking to try and at least equalize on this half and guarantee it. But it doesn't happen. Spacestation are looking so damn good on this offensive side, Jesse.
It's been a tough game from Liquifax so far. We didn't see him really shine so much in map number 1, and now yet to find a kill here in map 2. Some of these early deaths are really impactful too. He's playing a lot of the Solus, which is a really weird pick on Border, Sam.
Yeah.
I gotta say, it's a weird pick on any map. You just don't see a lot of Solus in 2025. It's really not an operator that's been in the meta for a couple of years at this point. So, I don't know, we keep seeing Liquifax try to make it work. He's not finding too much success on it. 0-4 now. One of the players that was caught off guard by that fast, aggressive rush on the top floor. Really well put together with, of course, the smokes coming out, the glass coming out as well from Ashen to get one of those big picks. It was a really nice, kind of cheesy, but nice push to the top floor, and it gives SSG that 3rd round that they were looking for on the attack. Even if they lose this, I think they're happy 3-3 attacking half.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think you could try and, wipe the grin off their face, really, Jesse, with a 3-3 half here on Border offense. But the big thing is, after that, if that does end up going down, you still have to deliver. These defenses have been so difficult for Falcons, and the big thing about them getting offense under their reign is, in my personal opinion, that's where Shaiko's best guns lie, the offensive side of the field. So we'll see what they're capable of. Is Shaiko able to be a world beater and practically put Falcons across the line by himself, like he's been doing for the majority of this game?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of ridiculous, right? The 2 original members of this team, Shaiko and Brede, have 11 kills for the first 5 rounds. 11. The rest of the team combined have 2. 2 kills. I mean, it's really been the Shaiko show with Brede in the late rounds, collecting a couple of kills here and there that have been impactful, but even still, Shaiko has been the defining member of Falcons in the first half of this map on Border, and somebody else needs to step up. Saltov's playing here inside of security. He's got that opportunity. Liquifax is nearby by break room too. So this trio of Shaiko, Liquifax, and Saltov are looking to work together on the aggressive part of Border. They need to put in some work. They need to work together so that they can secure some kills on these aggressive SSG players.
Yeah, this isn't a, oh, maybe we get this. This is a requirement for you to win this round. You have to deal with Spacestation taking in through break right here, right now. SSG continue to try and work their way through the map. Shaiko holding things down over on East. Now, this is going to be the biggest adaptation here because he's got a lot of different opportunities. He's got that soft wall. You've got the rotation over towards the top balcony. And, hey, you can always just shove your way right up the hallway as well. Oh, my days. Solotov, he can't deliver. We've seen that twice now in this same balcony where the player in security is not capable of taking down the 2 outside. And SSG get yet another pick here on the offense.
Newer's just dropped in front of the vents window and got a big pick too. Then jumps right on in and says, why don't I start finding more and more players to shoot at? Now it's a 5v3 to get the 4-2 split. Another opportunity for Newers, and he hits the shot. Of course he does. Liquifax 0-5 for the first half.
He looks so comfortable, man. He looks so good with this SSG roster. It's looking like early days oxygen, especially with his positioning. He's so confident. He almost gets out of that as well, but Falcons finally bring things back to bear. But hey, guess what? You guys aren't on the bomb site, and the bomb is being planted. Fultz will get that down. Benja finds one. Shaiko's in the dirt. It's up to Uzis to try and win practically one of the hardest bomb sites to retake in Siege. And Fultz will take not only that round for Spacestation, but the moniker of most kills on the offensive half, playing support operators.
Sam, I said it before the match started, right? Opening kills are so important on a map like Border. That's been the one thing where it's like consistently teams on Border that get the entry frags are able to convert that. And SSG dominated in that first half, always able to work that pick, whether it was them themselves that were making the swing happen and were finding that early aggression, or whether it was somebody like Saltov going for a swing break room, Uses going for a swing, Lickback going for a swing. It was always SSG that were able to win those gunfights. Shaiko was really the only player on Falcons that was swinging and finding success. Everybody else from Falcons looked like they were swinging so timidly. They were swinging, but they were fearful on those swings. You saw it even when, in that last round, Lickback was swinging out from Workshop, and he's just crouch walking through the doorway, hoping to catch somebody off guard, but no, it's a flick down from Newers. SSG are not a team you can play scared against, and it just feels like Falcons are playing a little bit scared in this oh-so-important game.
Yeah. I mean, in all reality, Jesse, name a time where they've been in a situation like this.
That's true.
I don't think I've ever seen them in a situation like this. Even if they do end up making a lower bracket, they usually end up making a good run. They're usually in the power position for the vast majority of these series.
Yeah.
And right now, the limit, I mean, they've been surpassed, really. Yeah. They are past their limit at this current moment in time, and this is where that pressure has to make diamonds. Falcons, how bad do you want this? That's the reality of the situation.
SSG all throughout that lower bracket run in North America talked non-stop about the no-quit culture, something that Callout is known for. His main thing about this team has been setting a culture that does not crumble under pressure. SSG may have gotten absolutely trashed in the first game of their EWC run, but it doesn't matter when they can answer back against one of the best teams in the world. It's not done just yet. They still need to get 3 defenses before Falcons can get 4 of their own to force that overtime, 4 attacks. They're certainly looking up for the task. Falcons have brought a really interesting lineup here, Sam. We've got the Glass coming out, we've got the Amaru coming out. Interested to see what they'll be cooking.
All signs point towards Archives, don't they? They won't have the Monty to really assist with that. That's usually who you see try and sit in front of that planter just because you have so much extra space with that mountain standing in front of you. But they'll have to try and accomplish that in other ways. And it seems like they're going to have an explosive attack coming in from EFAC to try and pull some of that vision away from the defense and then try and deliver on this bomb site. What a nitro cell. SSG is all over Falcons. Falcons are forced to try and fly into the map, but it's no dice. Falcons have nothing. They can't even hold a candle to the light of Space Station as Newers has a triple kill. It's down to the man, the myth, the legend, Shaiko in a 1 versus 5. And wow, a lot to do and no place to deliver. Ashen will take him down and Space Station Gaming barreling towards success.
It's ridiculous how easy it looks, Sam. It looks like SSG know exactly what's going to happen and they can hold every correct angle, and that really comes down to 2 factors. Number 1, they've just played a ton of Border. Falcons have not played very much of this map. They're far less experienced to play on a map like Border. SSG have done this so many times. They know the angles to watch, and they know what certain things mean. In that round, they're playing top floor defense on Border, and they don't hear anything, see anything for 60 seconds. What does that mean? Well, it probably means there's somebody getting ready for an explosive push onto your bomb site. So they had Lickback going down below with the Amaru, right? That's supposed to be the key player that can, in the chaos of the execute, jump up a hatch, slam everybody, get a ton of kills, and win the round for your team. But Newers was inside of lockers, holding a vert angle on the front door, and the first person to die in that push ended up being Lickback on the Amaru. Immediately he went down before he even got close to a hatch that he was trying to jump up. That was read super well by SSG. They knew exactly what was going to come when that push came forward, and they weren't afraid of it. They challenged it head on. They engaged with it before it could really get going, and that made all the difference. Made it look so simple on the side of Space Station Gaming. Ended up forcing attack timeout from Falcons.
It really brings you back to the map bans, and you just go, why would you want them to have Border? This is a map that they've been so confident on for so long, and yeah, they've suffered a couple battle scars, but it's nothing that stops them from being confident on this map. And the one thing that you don't want is this roster right here feeling like they can beat the world.
Yeah.
You see that on Newers' face right now. You see that in his play, Jesse. I know you do because we've seen it before. Those early days of Oxygen when he felt like there was not a single person, let alone in America, in the world that could deal with him. Ladies and gentlemen, he's back.
Yeah, it feels like Newers is right at home on this SSG roster. Top frag in the lobby at the moment, 9 kills. in just 7 rounds. It's been looking really good on this SSG team. The thing about Spacestation, man, is they're just so talented in every single position. There's not one player that you look on this team and think, yeah, I mean, they're going to struggle in a couple of gunfights. No, every single player on that roster is so talented now.
The fact that Fultz is the hard support, just paint that mental picture real quick. Like, it's
exactly.
It's just otherworldly, brother. It really is. Uses will find one, and already a little pop-off from Falcons. They're trying to get some energy back into the squad.
No, that's important, right? You get this really important pick onto this player of Newers who's been so hot so far today. You shut him down. Now you can start playing some more of these long angles. Ashen's going to be a little bit more secure inside of security, but he's got some really tight angles he's playing with. If he starts getting pushed from either that window that he's just turned his attention to or the doorway behind him, that starts adding an extra dimension, an extra angle he's got to look at. No real help inside of security, so it's all on him to be able to do something or at least waste time by himself.
They know they've got Ashen over here inside of security, so they'll have to deal with that at some point. Solitop will
Nice.
take him down, so there's going to be quite a bit of control going their way, but J9 knows is going to quickly reinforce this. He knows that they'll probably be a little bit more lax about this positioning now as they continue to try and hold things down. Frag grenade in, won't get caught off from the break player. Almost able to find the kill as he is constantly flirting with this. Finally skimpers back towards site. That was definitely worrisome there for a split second, but it's going to be actually Shaiko to deliver as he'll take down J9O. This time, a lot more slow rolling, working these angles, trying to take proper map control. It's all working out for Falcons.
Yeah, and it's team play too, right? Every time a play is coming through, it's multiple players together. It's maybe the Grim coming out to force a position, and then somebody else gets that pick. Leaves just Faltz and Benja in this 2v5, 1v5 now as Faltz goes down. Benja, an impossible task, staring down with still over a minute on the clock.
Yeah, this is going to be really hard for him, but you know, you got to give Falcons their flowers. They slow down the play just a tad bit, they start to apply themselves to the map properly, and life is all good. A flawless round and a battery in the back of the Falcons as they attempt to soar through the skies once again.
Go back to that opening pick on a Newers, right? We didn't quite manage to capture it, but he did give the respect after it happened. He ended up saying nice shot to it. So it must have been a really clean pick from users to find that entry pick. It was a headshot with the DMR, so certainly was not going to be an easy one coming through from him on the Twitch, but he was able to find that pick on a Newers. That kind of leaves Ashen more solo, more alone, and from there they're able to really start those tumbling blocks, right? One after another. The dominoes, they go one by one. Very similar to the time that we saw SSG do that, right?
Yeah.
Where they clear the top floor one after another after another. Trades weren't there from Falcons in the first half. Now in this half, SSG not able to get those trades either. It's not an easy thing to do on a map like Border. You've got to find a way to make that happen, especially on this defensive side. So really nice from Falcons, as you said, slowing things down, make sure no trades could occur in that round.
Yeah, I mean that was just a stellar one through and through for Falcons and exactly what you want to see out of them. They need to try and channel more of that throughout the remainder of Border because, just to be honest with you, you have to give Spacestation that respect on this map. You're not going to be able to just quickly pull the wool over their eyes and just shove them to the back. It's not going to happen. So Spacestation Gaming will more than likely flip the script as well for their defensive sides. We've already seen them choose a different bomb site than what they used previously. This time we're going down to Ventilation Workshop.
And Benja bring back the Solus too, so both these teams think it's making a bit of a comeback. Fair enough. I trust the pros more than I trust myself. If everybody thinks that Solus is a great operator on Border, then I do believe that it might be. Could be playing down below security. Could actually be really impactful to be able to stop some of those drones if he's got a player up above him and stop the hard breach too. Nice to be able to shoot one of those Selma charges. Didn't need the scanner for that, but just use the audio cue to keep Jan a little bit more safe. He's playing on the smoke towards the bottom of these stairs, and that's something I was talking about with him. That is kind of changing on Border, where you see a lot more players playing below.
Ninja kind of getting caught off guard here towards jail as EFAC was looking for his first frag of the game, which is just insane to say when it comes to him. 0-6 at the current moment, but could change up at a dime here in the near future. Bomb site still being held down from SSG. First logic bomb out as they'll look to try and do a little discovery work on this top floor.
They're trying to make some space happen on the bottom floors too still. I mean, there's really pressure being mounted on all parts of the map from Falcons. They see, again, Benja, who's just playing around inside of customs, moving out, moving back in, making sure he can waste time for his teammates. Up above, Newers is still playing inside of Armory too, so they've really got a lot of dimensions to worry about if they're Falcons. Plenty of players still playing on that top floor as they're seeing now with the drones, so clearing out these guys is really going to be their #1 priority as Bride and the last player down below with him, Liquifax, start to look for a plant.
This is going to get seriously scary for the on-site player for Spacestation because Falcons are doing a good job of pulling that pressure towards the top floor. Spacestation thinks that they might want to go for a clear here. They might try and make some adjustments, but the plant's already going down on-site. Volt, he's waiting for the mark. He'll spray through. He's got to pull down, but he finds him! And that's going to be the case down right in front of Volt, who has been on an absolute tear so far here on Border.
Yeah, he heard the sound cue. That's so smart from the captain of Spacestation. One of those brilliant plays that you don't get unless you played this game for a very long time.
Drones out. Falcons, I mean, it's looking scary right now for this round. Oh my days. SSG, Volt might have just saved them. As they'll search, they'll find. EFAC gets one, but it's a 2 versus 3, and there's a lot of verticality to worry about. Where does this case go down? EFAC, he's found himself here in round 9 as he's gotten 3 kills, his only 3 kills to his name. They will flirt with this case, attempting to plant back and forth. Uses will find Ashen, and somehow, some way, Falcons are working their way back into this game.
Sam, you asked somehow, some way. There was one thing in that round that was different from every other round we've seen on Border so far. You know what that was?
I think it starts with the L.
Liquifax got his first kills that round, and he didn't just get 1. He didn't just get 2. He didn't get, well, he got 3. He got 3 kills, but they were extremely impactful. They were so important in winning that round because they happened when the team was in a dire situation.
Yeah.
They did not look like they were going to be able to get out of that one. I think it was a 2v4 where they were really nervous. They were not looking like they were going to get a chance to get that plant down. With Faltz's important position to stop that plant the first time, you thought it was over. But not so. Liquifax showing up in this game will make all the difference, and if that is what we see from Liquifax for the rest of Border, SSG are in trouble.
It is an absolute necessity. You are going to need this whole team because we've seen nothing but the exact same from Spacestation. In fact, I'm a little worried for Falcons still just because we haven't seen J90 hit his stride yet. And that is the player for Spacestation. You said it earlier.
Yep.
They played 8 maps once they hit the lower bracket for finals. 4 of them were J90 master classes up against respective squads in NA. Now it's down to a 1-round difference here on Border. Spacestation wants to close this out in 2-0 fashion. Falcons wants to make sure we play on into the night on Consulate. Man, it's a good day to be a Siege fan.
Look at the next round of bans, and Falcons take the Ella off the board. I think that's a new one for me, Sam. Coming out on Border, I mean, it makes sense. We saw Faltz playing that recently in the last round, having a big impact with it. Grim taken out by SSG can be really impactful on this map as well. So I like those bans coming through. See if it's enough to complete the comeback from Falcons.
We're getting some switch-ups here on the offense as well. I seriously love that they waited to the, latter rounds to really bring out this lineup, Jesse. You see the Lion work its way in. You see Doke. You see Sense. These are the strategies that you've been talking about where you don't really want to implement them till this last ban phase comes through. That way you can try and bully your opponent with these choices, and so far, so good. Solotop will deliver on the DMR. They don't even need any info game for that. It's just a nice cross.
And another opening death from Ashen. That was instrumental last time they got a big round win, so taking Ashen off the board could be massive for Falcons. Leaves these last couple of players in a bit of an isolated position. We see Liquifax down below Archives. Benja's going to have to deal with him. He's going to have to deal with Bride out on Repel. Benja's in a real worrying position. He's got Newers, but is Newers close enough to make a difference? I'm not sure that he is. He can go for that outside angle, and he certainly will be trying to help out his teammate, but he's pinned down as well, Sam.
Solotov with another find, and he has consistently been the saving grace. Even though it's a 5-7 stat line for him, these 5 kills have been so impactful for Falcons across these rounds. And he does it yet again here, so he'll slow up Spacestation, making sure that they can't risk as much on this defensive side. Another angle getting adopted for Solotov as he's constantly worked this break door for the entire round.
Yeah, Shaiko's entry duo, Solotov, has been massive all season long for Falcons. He's been their highest rated player so far since this season started, and now we're seeing that start to come alive. Solotov, a bit quiet so far this map, but all you need is a DMR in his hands, and he'll show you exactly why he's thought of as one of the best players in the world.
That's Logi Bomb out. Falcons seeing if that stirs anything up inside of the map. I think that's going to happen is Newers on a rotate. And he has been so dastardly with these over the years. It's going to be Shaiko on a triple as they look to tie things up. Stuns over Fultz with the glasses on. He'll be able to find one. J9O waiting in the wings over in office as well. That means the box side here on the top floor is completely exposed. Falcons, if they're able to find an angle, they can work it, but they don't need it. They walk right into Fountain, and they'll steal it away like a man, taking out the last two remaining players. And look at this energy. This is what I was talking about. They needed a series like this to reach another echelon, and that's what I want to see out of the Falcons.
Saltov a 4K in that round, getting massive value early, coming in with that Dokkaebi, making sure you can get a couple of big picks, and then stacking them on as the round continued too. Got one kill that was finished off by Shaiko, and then the final kill in that round too, was able to chain them together, more than doubling his kills in this map in just one round. That's the difference that Saltov makes. We saw Lickifak wake up last round. We saw Saltov wake up this round. It seems like all of Falcons are starting to realize just the dire situation they are in, and they're understanding that this is the moment where they need to come alive.
Yes, absolutely. The big thing here for Spacestation that I want to see, Jesse, is I want to see them grab that playback slider, and I want them to see them slow it down. Slow it down. These first minute engagements are so punishing to Spacestation right now, especially from what we saw to Usis. We both talked about it. He just sits outside, just holding break door, and he gets two frags practically on the same angle. Spacestation are putting too many gambles out there right now, and Falcons are just going, oh, thank you, I'll take that one. Oh, cool, I'll take that one too. Oh, you guys were giving out free samples today. This is beautiful. So, Spacestation, what is going to be the script for these last two remaining rounds? You know the Ela is gone. You know what Falcons are going to want to bring to the table, because I will be the first one to tell you that Lion and that Dokkaebi are not leaving that lineup.
Oh, certainly not, Sam. I mean, that ability to kind of ping down their information and figure out where those players are at is really a difference maker.
Solotov's feeling himself, brother.
Yeah, he jumps on the Ashe. Why not after a 4K in the previous round? Again, he was 3-6, I believe. No, 3-7. Now goes all the way up to even. It's crazy just how fast the script can flip, especially for a team like Falcons. One round is all they need to force at least an overtime. 2 rounds would be absolutely ideal. Good drone being captured by Ashen. You don't see that too often on the Mozzie, but able to catch one that was in a bit of a sneaky spot and could provide him the opportunity to get a good pick late round, but they've got to enter the building before that drone can really have too much of an impact. And as we know from most players when they're around security, you're not often letting the players walk in.
No, and the other thing is it's like Wolf of Wall Street. You're not leaving. You're just not leaving. We're locked in.
Very
so,
true.
SSG will put Ashen out there in the cold and see how long he can survive. If Falcons even really want to try and deal with the map this way. Obviously, the bomb site is going to be down low, so don't really have to consider things too heavily. Just need to make sure that there is some vision on this verticality so Spacestation don't just get free reign over the bomb site.
It's interesting, Ashen, he didn't put down very many of these pests early. Instead, he kept 2 in his pocket so that he could catch some of those drones. I wonder what kind of an impact he's going to have with those. Usually, the pests just get thrown out at the start of the round. What?
No way.
What?
That timing is
Dude,
so
Solotov
blessed.
is nasty. Oh my goodness.
Dude, that was so blessed, though.
Sure,
like,
sure.
I'll give it to him on the other rounds, but that is as blessed gets. J9O just completely decimated as he reaches the top of East Stairs. A random shot from R4C, and that's really it at the end of the day. So now down to a 5 versus 4 as Falcons looking to take the lead again. Newers will bring it back to be even here between these two.
Jaiko hunting for a kill back, knows where this player is. They've got pings thanks to that line charge, but unfortunately not able to secure anything. They want that trade game. They know how important it can be. Bride's made his way to the bomb site. Now, this is not going to be unknown to SSG. They've got long angles that they can hold from customs, they can hold from workshop
They
as
might go
well.
for this.
If they get the smokes off, it could be a successful plan. Benja's in customs, though, and he's playing on the Warden. I think he's going above, though.
Oh, it's so tantalizing. It's literally right here in front of them, but Brede goes down to the Nitro Cell. I don't know if he was able to get that shield across his ankles in time. Uses, though, I mean, they're just going round and round here in round 11, as once again, it's an equal playing field at a sub-minute. The Case Town in sight. Falcons getting asked to do quite a bit here, but Solotov, Shaiko, and Usis all still alive. The 3 names you want to hear me say for Falcons in a situation like this. Usis will take down Benja, It's Bolts and New, the new player for SSG, being asked to do so much, and he almost delivers on the second one. Uses this plant. It won't be secured. Oh, it's so close. The shot's out from Bolts. He's down to the pistol. Shaiko feeling it after that one. A necessity, a requirement for the Falcons. They'll be able to finally slow SSG down just a little bit and start putting them towards the fire instead.
And what a great round from Shaiko to win that 1v1 against Falcons, who was on a tear that round. He's the one that dealt the early damage onto Bride, then got the nitro kill onto Bride to secure that kill in the end. So the initial plant threat was down. And then he denied the plant threat the second time, and then just couldn't win the final 1v1 from Falcons. That's a heartbreaking one to watch, but Shaiko has consistently been better this map. Despite the fact that some of his teammates took a while to heat up in this game, Shaiko from the very first round was the guy that was stepping up and putting in the work for Falcons. He does it once again to secure a match point from Team Falcons and get us just that bit closer to a third back.
Man, this is so exciting. SSG can guarantee overtime and make it such a risky prospect for a best of 3 rounds. And then we also have, in this corner, Falcons being capable of taking us all the way to Consulate, which I'm totally here for. This has just been so entertaining to watch in between these two, and I love that we're seeing this energy out of Falcons. The talk, the play, the capability on full display. It's got it all here inside of our last match of the day. Man, that was a lot of rhyming. I did a really damn good job on that. I'm just gonna...
You should be a poet.
Yeah, dude, hey, something like that.
All right, well, hey, we've got Events Workshop to finish off regulation. This will decide if we need that overtime or not. Top floor is actually looking a little bit light. Only 3 players playing above at the moment. Start to open up the jail wall so they can make that push in later if they need to, but right now the focus will be up above. Ashen, Newers, and Faults are all playing up here, with Ashen being the most aggressive player, of course, deep inside security.
Yeah. I like that SSG is trying to change things up a little bit, Jesse, because what we've been seeing from them is trying to hold the full breadth of the map, and they've been punished time and time again by Falcons. And yeah, that's a default camera that's still up with one of the best teams in the world in the lobby.
I think that just speaks to how important this is and how the nerves are getting right now, right?
Yeah.
Falcons do not make that mistake in any other position other than being down in a critical game at EWC. If this was an online game, a group stage game in EUL, they don't make this mistake. If they're doing well in the tournament, they don't make this mistake. But there's so much information being given from this default.
Oh, this is so terrifying, especially because that's a DMR. I know it's a 3-armor operator, but Ashen, he's got to do the most. The defense is coming alive. EFAC goes down, and we are taking steps towards overtime. Bride is not allowed to take that fight right there. They will just stare at each other and quickly move on past. Newers will take down Shaiko. It's a 5 versus 2. And if Falcons are able to pull it across the line now, I mean, it'd be something special, but it's a flawless round. Ladies and gentlemen, oh my days, do we have a series here on the first day. If you would have woken me up from my sleep this morning, you'd have been like, hey, Sam, you're going to cast a lower bracket final. Well, not final, but lower bracket to send somebody home. And, oh yeah, by the way, it's going to be Falcons and Spacestation Gaming.
Yeah.
And Spacestation's going to take the first map and force OT on the second. I would have probably called you crazy.
Yep.
I probably would have been like, this is not reality. So, but hey, guess what? That's where we are. That's what this entire damn day has been about, really, Jesse, when you think about it. We started this day on a desk during Game 3 with Jenny, where we talked about Furia versus Oxygen and the fact that Furia was never going to lose that game in a million years. We were literally making fun of the fact that Furia could potentially be in a lower bracket. They are in a lower bracket. G2's in a lower bracket. Falcons is in a lower bracket. Space Station Gaming is in a lower bracket. I referenced this earlier. The lower bracket at this tournament almost looks like an upper bracket, and that's the level of play that we're seeing between these two teams.
Yeah, and I mean, a big difference maker has just been the little mistakes, right? Every single time we talk about it, SSG have sometimes struggled on the defense to win those opening engagements. We've seen some really strong stuff from Falcons, Saltov in particular, picking apart those aggressive players when they're trying to make those aggro moves. But SSG, when they've got a free default cam to watch the whole time, I mean, that's going to make things a whole lot easier Falcons hopefully will not be making that mistake again because they will get 2 attacks in this overtime. SSG choosing defense. It was their selection on what side they wanted in overtime because it was their map pick. That's how it goes. They're choosing the defensive side. They know it's their better side. They know it's their more comfortable side on a map like Border. Today, it's not made the biggest of difference, but even still, you've got to imagine that SSG will like their chances in the second half.
Chaiko, same thing as always. A little bit of a different operator here, but same story for Falcons as they'll start leaning in towards the break space. Not really too much changing you can do when you really look at Border. You really have one of maybe 2 options when it comes to clearing things out. So they'll do what they've been comfortable with thus far. But that same note, SSG more than likely aware of what is going to be taking place here across this first minute and a half.
Yeah, the eyes for Falcons are on J9O, right? That's why we see Lickifat going down inside of Passport right now, looking to try to get some of that value. Also going to work vertically, which is impactful too, but J9 is not too far away, just inside of waiting. Playing on that sentry can be a really powerful operator because you get the barbed wire to stop people from walking in, and then if they do walk in, you get that information, you can toss the nitro. There's a strat that a lot of teams are running here on East Stairs. It's a big reason why sentry started to be picking up more and more in Siege X because it can just be so powerful, especially when operators like a Zombie are banned out.
Well, Falcons doing their best to try and make something of the series for themselves. It's been so close. Not as close as you'd want on Labs, but Border has definitely been one for the books. As the buck will come out, Ashen a lot of damage, but Bolts follows through, and this has been a routine thing for Spacestation. They've constantly been consistent in being able to assist each other in moments like this. Now, this defensive side on Border has definitely left some holes where they haven't been able to accomplish that, but Jesse, they've adjusted. They're playing closer, they're playing more tight-knit, and it's working out in their favor. Shaiko will go down. It's up to Uses in a 1 versus 4. Ashen is going to talk his mess as Spacestation will be on map and match point up against Falcons in Riyadh.
I think it comes down to 2 big things, Sam. It comes down to that early frag that we saw from J9O being able to get that pick around East Stairs. I said him versus Saltov was going to make a big difference, and this time we definitely saw J9O come out on top. You were asking to see more from J9O, and it wasn't a multi-kill, it wasn't a crazy clutch, but that was still a ridiculously important frag. Then it was the team play. Then it was the ability to trade out your teammates. Even if someone doesn't go down, if they're receiving fire, they can run away. Faltz is able to step up, even as the captain, even as the hard support, even as the IGL. He says, yeah, I'll take that swing for you. Everybody on SSG is willing to die for their teammates. Everybody on SSG is willing to make those aggressive plays to help out somebody else. And that comes back down to the culture, right? Everything that SSG talk about comes down to culture, comes down to what their coach has really instilled in them. And we see every single time SSG get put into a difficult position, they battle back. 1 round away now in the lower bracket from eliminating Falcons from EWC.
This is unbelievable. Truly, truly unbelievable. Especially with, I mean, you just start looking at the boards, you start getting into these stats and really thinking through how these rounds have went.
Yeah.
You look at people like EFACT and the fact that all 3 of those kills came in 1 round.
Yeah.
He hasn't found another round of impact when it comes to the frag department at all. And usually, he's that flex IGL that's got a little gusto to him. And right now, I mean, he's just got the smoking jacket on at home, man. He's not doing too much. He's sitting by the fire with his feet up. And we really need him to clock back in here for Falcons. Because right now, it is truly do or die. Do Falcons fly home, or do Space Station Gaming allow a 3rd map? Well, we'll know within 2.
They're 1 defense in overtime. Falcons have opted to go for Bathroom and Tellers. Not the obvious choice. Obviously, you'd go top floor if you're a ranked team, but Falcons are very much aware of how this game has gone, and they feel like their Bathroom defense was the best when they played against SSG. You got Lickifat on the castle, too, which is an interesting change. Not uncommon on Bathroom. We do see that quite often from different teams, but shows that maybe Falcons are willing to try a couple different strategies on this map. Top floor still being held by the classics. Shaiko, Lickifat, Saltov, creating that triangle when they can play up the top floor, use this inside of offices too, so they've got that support all around the top. But Saltov will be the entry point. He was on attack too, playing the Dokkaebi. Now he's on the other side of the game. Can he manage to find those kills?
Dancing around. Wall is soft, so Bench and Shaiko can play with this as much as they want to. Oh, he's over on the half wall. This is a huge moment here. Shaiko usually does not miss moments like that. Benja better count his lucky stars. His Falcons, halfway through the round, halfway there right now, but a long road ahead of them.
This is getting really tense. Falcons have not opted to fight early, which is very weird, but Shaiko is close. Shaiko could go for a swing if Ashen steps out a little bit too far. Good util work. Will start to open up the wall into Fountain. Gets slowed down a little bit by that freeze coming through from the Tuberow, but it's not going to be enough long term.
Almost a fine, but Solotov will get one instead. Foltz will find a nice frag as well. 4 versus 3 down to a 4 versus 2. Not able to deal with the setup from Falcons as they have been very, just patient inside of this round, taking their time, forcing SSG to get into the building and making the most out of these situations. Now, doesn't mean that everything's over for Spacestation. The case is down, and they're going to have to try and make some progress at some moment in time. It's going to be Newers to try and take this, but it's going to be Ashen to step up first. He'll go down to use this, as they know exactly where this Legion is, but Shaiko's just one of those ones you don't want to mess with. The Mute General will mess things up. He'll try and take the fight, won't be able to find too much, as I do believe this is going to be max overtime on Border.
Sam, it's another round where Lickifac's able to find impact. He gets another kill. You were asking for it before that round, and we do see it in round 14. Lickifat gets back on the board, back into the fragging department. At the same time, Solotov able to have massive impact on the top floor too, going for that pick onto Gen.G before he got traded out himself. You don't see a lot of passive top floor holds on Border. You oftentimes see a Border top floor hold where everybody's swinging, everybody's getting aggressive, everybody's trying to take those early fights. But Falcons decided, let's play with utility, let's play with electricity, let's play with Tuberow, let's lock down that top floor so that we can really make Fountain a safe space, we can make Office a safe space, we can make Lockers a safe space. They really had these fortresses inside the map that SSG never were able to crack them out of. That might be the answer that solves defense for Falcons up against SSG. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter at this point. You've got one more round to play in this map, and it's going to be on the offense. SSG can no longer choose the same bomb site they did before, so they will be forced to go Vents Workshop instead. This is do or die, Sam. One round determines if we get a third map, a Consulate, or our Falcons will be eliminated on the first day of EWC.
Nothing is granted. Everything is earned. Time and time again. That is the lesson that we learn. Falcons and SSG, both disciples of that religion, I can tell you, as they have constantly been at each other's necks throughout this entire game. The talk, the play, the strategizing, the countering. This series has really just given it all. And if we have a third map, I'll be the first one to be the happiest clam, I'm telling you. Oh, Foltz! What a moment right there. He risks it all, and he burns up as Falcons take him down.
I mean, there were so many bodies there. He heard them that decided he had to get away.
Oh!
Big trade, though. Big trade. You clear out not just Solotov, who's been one of the best players on Falcons so far, but the Glaz. Now, any smoke strats you had will need to be reformatted, and there's a lot of smokes on the side of Falcons.
100%. That was one of the things that they were, setting their hat on and seeing if there was going to be any value out of that later on into the round. But once again, these two, it's like fate, Jesse. They have to come into contact with each other. Every once in a while, we see those big rounds where they pop off. They'll find the man. Take your time. You have every day in the world, New. The case will go down. And oh man, Falcons, they now have to try and do the most. Shaiko bullies his way and decided to triple kill for him. It's down to a 2 versus 2. You couldn't write a better damn script. They'll get the case back. EFAC has to try and work a position in order to put that down. They know that Newers is upstairs and he's going to take quite a bit of damage. But where is Ashen? He's up here too. Does he go for the hatch drop? The audio, he's listening. No case confirmed just yet as more verticality will open up. He'll drop into his own ice, and they should know about this positioning now. They're taking their time here. Oh man, there's so much time left on this clock. It's gonna be just a tantalizing moment as, oh my God, Space Station have done it! The Falcons burn up in the atmosphere.